Okay, it's fractions this week, and we're going to start off by multiplying fractions. First thing you need to do is convert these into improper fractions. So to do that, 3 times 2 is 6, add 1 is 7, so there are 7 halves over here. And then 1 times 7 is 7, add 4 is 11, so there are 11 sevenths over here. Multiplying together two fractions is dead easy. Just multiply the two top numbers together, which will give us 77, and then multiply the two bottom numbers together, which gives us 14. Now, you shouldn't leave your answer as an improper fraction. You should always look to convert it back to a mixed number. So we need to find how many 14s go into 77. 14 goes into 77 5 times, and there are 7 left over. So it's 5 and 7 14ths. Now, it's still possible to simplify this fraction here, and if you do that, you go down to 5.5. And that's all done. Part 2 is dividing fractions, and it's the same first step here. It's the same first step in all the questions, in fact. So 6 times 2 is 12, add 1, it's 13 halves. And then 1 times 7 is 7, add 6 is 13 sevenths. Now, when you are dividing fractions, there's a certain set of rules that you can follow. And that's that you can change this divide into a multiply as long as you then flip the second fraction. So we're going to change our divide into a multiply, and then we're going to flip this the other way around. So instead of 13 over 7, it's now 7 over 13. And then we can just multiply them together like any two normal fractions like we did a moment ago. 7 times 3 is 17 times, I'll try again, 13 times 7 is 91, and 2 times 13 is 26. So again, you don't leave your answer as an improper fraction unless you're asked to. So we find how many 26's go into 91, and you can get 3 of those fully in, because 3 times 26 is 78, and there are 13 left over out of 26. And we can still simplify this little part of the fraction that's left here, because that's a half, so it simplifies down to 3.5. Third one is adding fractions, and these follow a slightly different set of rules, but it's the same thing to start here. So 1 times 7, 7, add 5 gives us 12 sevenths. 4 times 3 is 12, add 2 gives us 14 thirds. Now, you can only add and subtract fractions when they've got the same denominator. So there's nothing we can do with those two fractions at the moment. We've got to change something so that they've got the same denominator. So we'll go and write them out again down here. So we need to make the denominators the same. So we find a number that 7 and 3 both go into, which 21 is the ideal choice. So what's 7 been multiplied by to turn it into 21? Well, that's 3. So we'll do the same thing to the top. 12 times 3 is 36 over 21. Other fraction, what's happened to 3 to turn it into 21? Well, it's been multiplied by 7. So if I do the same thing to the top, 14 times 7 is 98. So I've now got two fractions that have got the same denominator. So I'm going to add them together. 36 over 21 added to 98 over 21. So remember, you can only add and subtract fractions when they've got the same denominator. These two now have the same denominator, so I can just add them together. 36 add 98 gives me 134 over 21. course, it's an improper fraction, so I need to sort that out. So how many 21s go into 134? Well, if you're not sure, just use your calculator. That's 6. And 6 times 21 is 126, so there's still 8 left over. So it's going to be 6 and 8 over 21. Notice here, I can't simplify 8 over 21, so that's going to have to be my final answer. Final one, nearly there. Subtracting fractions. Exactly the same process as adding them together. Remember, you can only add and subtract fractions when they've got the same denominator. So, 5 times 2 is 10, add 1 gives us 11 halves over here. 3 times 5 is 15, add 2 gives us 17 fifths over here. Of course, we can't do anything with these two fractions at the moment because they've not got the same denominator. So we're going to make them the same. We'll write them both out again. And because the denominators are 2 and 5, then the most sensible number to choose that they both go into is 10. So, top fraction, what's happened to 2 to turn it into 10? Well, it's been multiplied by 5, so I'll do the same thing to the top. 11 times 5 is 55. Bottom fraction, 5 has been turned into 10, so that's been multiplied by 2. So if I do the same thing to the top, I get 34. So now I've got two fractions that have got the same denominator. I've got 55 over 10, and I'm subtracting 34 over 10. And because they've now got the same denominator, I can just do 55, take away 34, which is 21 over 10. Now there's only one final thing to do. Obviously you're not going to leave your answer as an improper fraction, so we'll see how many 10s go into 21. That's 2 whole ones, and then there's 1 left over. So it's 2 and 1/10. Have a go at these 8 questions that I've left you.